Femtrooper and we're at the Calgary Expo. We're gonna go check out one of my favorite vendors here, which is New Games Plus. They're awesome. I always buy something from them every year. They always seem to have the best prices at the whole expo for video games, so let's see if they have something for me this year. Just bought Suikoden, the first one, Black Label Complete, for $60. I'm so excited. It's cheaper than new games now, and it's a classic, so I couldn't pass it up. And thank you, Mike, for telling me right now to buy it. I can never find a deal on anime, ever. It's always so expensive. So let's see if we can go find anything for a pretty good price. Ah, the thing I wanted yesterday is gone. This is why you buy things when you see them. So the Calgary Expo 2015 has been awesome, so much fun. You know, crazy people. We bought some stuff. I got some posters. I got Suikoden. That's awesome. I'm so happy about that. The only thing I'm disappointed in is just didn't attend any panels because this year there weren't any panels that I actually cared to see. So I'm a little disappointed about that. But in general, always fun. I love coming here and I can't wait to see what they have next year. I'll see you guys next year at the 2016 Calgary Expo.
Hey everybody, it's Femtrooper and I am back from the Calgary Expo, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience while I was there because this year was actually a lot different from previous years that I have attended. I believe this year was my 6th time attending the Calgary Expo, and for the most part, the big reason I enjoy going to the Expo is not only the vendors and buying stuff, but it's actually the guests, panels, and photo ops that really make it for me. And this year, there weren't that many guests that I actually cared about. This was, in the last couple years, I've been doing the photo ops every year and getting to meet somebody. It's really exciting to meet a famous celebrity or, you know, one of your geeky heroes. And this year, I actually didn't get a photo op done, and I was really disappointed about that because that's a huge, you know, excitement builder for me because I'm always thinking all year long, okay, who are they going to get this year that I really like, that I can have my picture taken with, or I can have them sign something, or I can actually just hear them speak. It was so exciting It's so exciting to go see people that you really like, whether they're super famous or just a hero of yours, and actually get to see them in person, talk about, the stuff that they're famous for or what they do. In previous years, I have seen, Matt Smith. I've met Matt Smith, from Doctor Who. I have my picture with him. I've gotten my picture taken and met with Stan Lee. I had him sign something for me. That was a huge deal. I've met Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad, had my picture with him. I've met Will Wheaton. I've seen Will Wheaton's panel last year. I saw Sigourney Weaver's panel. This is all at the Calgary Expo, by the way. And, a couple years ago, they had the Star Trek Next Generation reunion. So everybody from that show was there. So I got to watch, Patrick Stewart talk and, all these people, Brent Spiner talk, all these crazy, awesome people. But this year, I was a little disappointed. So I have to be honest. That I thought the guest lineup was very underwhelming, and they managed at the very last minute, like literally the day, I think it was either the day the expo started or the day before, they managed to pull Neil Patrick Harris, which is super awesome, huge celebrity, great for the city, but I'm not a huge Neil Patrick Harris fan, nothing against him, a lot of his stuff has never been stuff I've either watched or cared for. So, as much as I love when he hosts the Tonys, I just was like, that's great, but it's not somebody that I love. And I was looking at some of the guest lineup and I'm thinking, I don't know, they didn't have as many A-list stars as they've pulled in before. And that was, honestly, it was disappointing because usually I get a 4-day pass. This year I went 3 out of the 4 days, just because I knew I wasn't going to actually be going to many panels. And in the video, I did mention that I didn't go to any panels. I did actually end up going to one. It was talking about women in fandom. It was just a random panel. There was no celebrity guest or anything. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. But for the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that I did attend, besides that one panel, I didn't really do any. And I didn't have a photo op. And that's actually most of my expo time when I'm there is usually spent in panels and in lineups for photos and stuff. But this year, my time was pretty much spent just wandering the vendor floor, which is huge, by the way. But that was the only thing I have to comment on that I'm very kind of mad about, because it was the 10th anniversary this year. And, despite, some of the guest lineup not being like, for me personally, like I wasn't really into it, we did break record this year, and the Calgary Expo actually got over 100,000 attendees. And if you guys don't know much about conventions, like that is a huge deal. So when you look up all the conventions that happen in North America, the Calgary Expo is around the 5th, 4th biggest. So being over 100,000 this year, that's probably going to really bump it up, because that's an amazing achievement. And I'm so happy just because it's a huge deal for our city as far as tourism goes, and honestly, it's so fun. It's like my nerd Christmas. I look forward to it every year because I either know I'm going to buy a bunch of cool stuff, I get to dress up, so it's kind of like Halloween every day, because I do dress up for the Calgary Expo, despite in the video I was wearing a Femtrooper shirt, but actually on the Friday that I attended, I wore my Spider-Man outfit. And on the Sunday that I attended, I was actually Wednesday Addams. So I did actually cosplay, and I really look forward to it. But this year, my cosplay ideas were a little bit lacking, because I usually pair what I dress up as who I'm taking my picture with. So for example, I wore a Star Trek Next Generation outfit when I was getting my picture taken with Will Wheaton. And when I kind of awkwardly dressed up as the 10th Doctor when I met Matt Smith, just because I like that Doctor better, but Matt Smith is my second favorite. And, I dressed up as I was Spider-Man when I met Stan Lee. So I try and pair it with who I'm meeting, but this year I didn't have a photo op. So there were kind of random costume ideas. So this expo was a little bit scattered for me, which I'm a little disappointed in. But as far as actually going there and just wandering and having an awesome time and checking out all the people and all the other cosplayers, and just everything from, the people, but the stuff you could buy, and I really just like walking around there. It's awesome. If you guys are wondering exactly how big the Calgary Expo is, it's 470,000 square feet of awesome. There are so many like areas at the Stampede grounds where it's hosted. And if you guys don't know, Calgary is famous for the Calgary Stampede. And that area of the city is basically this huge space that can be used for conventions, but it's more than just a convention center. It's basically an entire area. It's basically like a massive parking lot that gets used usually for like a carnival, but they have tents set up for the expo, and there's different areas for photo ops. There's a huge area for vendors. Actually, that's several areas for vendors. They've started adding. I feel like every year I go, it gets bigger and bigger. And now that they hit over 100,000, I've got my fingers crossed, guys, that next year they're gonna pull in some huge names. I realized that when they had the Aliens reunion and the Star Trek Next Generation reunion, that those were special cases. But at the same time, they have been able to get guests like Sigourney Weaver and Patrick Stewart here. So I feel like, you know what, if we can have Stan Lee and whatever, that we can get big names. Like, I would love to see Mark Hamill come here. We've had Carrie Fisher before, so it would be neat to get that. I mean, hey, in my dreams, we could have like George Lucas come, but who knows? But I sort of feel like if we can get Patrick Stewart to come, why can we not maybe have George Lucas come? So some big names that we did have at the Calgary Expo, despite maybe them not being shows I watched necessarily, but we did have big names. Here's who we had. Neil Patrick Harris, Rosario Dawson, Arthur Darvill from Doctor Who, Stephen Amell from The Arrow, Gwendoline Christie from Game of Thrones and the new Star Wars movie, Christy Swanson from Buffy, Luke Perry from Buffy and Beverly Hills 90210, Kristen Bauer von Stratton from True Blood, David Morrissey, Scott Wilson, and Lou Temple from The Walking Dead, Mark Muir from Mass Effect, Peter Cullen, known as the voice of Optimus Prime and Eeyore, Tom Kenny, known as the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants, and Jason Momoa from Game of Thrones. I just named like a tiny part of what we actually had. There's creator guests, there's big media guests, there's people there that are not just creators, but they're actually there's people who make stuff. Like you can buy earrings, you can buy pins, you could buy, there's so much artwork, so many creator guests in that respect were there, which is awesome because I feel like there's something for everybody at these big conventions. You can go there if you want jewelry, you can go there if you just literally want to sit in panels, you can go there for geek blind speed dating. However, I did walk past that and they got canceled because there weren't any women in the lineup. Basically, there's something for anybody, and I really like that, and it's a really safe environment because I can literally walk around in a spandex Spider-Man costume and feel like there's nothing like at all wrong with that. And I love doing that. It's like I get these extra Halloween days where it's like, you're only supposed to wear a costume one day a year, but I could totally, dress up like ridiculous. However, I have to say that the train ride there is somewhat awkward, but there is enough people on the train that I think people get that something weird is going on in the city. Because I have to admit, riding the train as Wednesday Addams was a little bit interesting because it didn't necessarily look like a costume. It kind of just looked like I was this weird goth person. But whatever, I think people got the hint that, because there was so many, there's stormtroopers walking around, there's, people dressed up as anything, there's Groot, there's Spider-Man, literally anything. If you've never been to a convention, you have to go. There's so many all over the world, and especially in North America, there's so many. But we also have OdaFest in Calgary, which is an anime convention. I'm thinking of going this year. I'm not 100% sure. I've never actually gone because I'm into anime, but I'm not like hardcore enough that I feel like I'd maybe get a lot out of it. But maybe this year might be the year. Regardless, the 2015 Calgary Expo was an excellent time for me. It just wasn't a highlight, and it wasn't the best one that I've been to because I have been to others, over the years and actually gotten the true experience out of it. Now, bear in mind that they did actually get a lot of big name people. They just didn't happen to be from shows that I necessarily watched. I don't watch The Arrow. I don't watch, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They had people there from that. And I'm not really a huge Game of Thrones fan, so there are certain people like that I just didn't, if they had more Star Wars guests or Star Trek guests, I would have been really excited. And Stanley actually was going to come again. I think it was his third or fourth time, but he had to cancel because he had something going on there. I think he was just doing some shooting for something, and it got extended, and he had to cancel. So Stanley couldn't come, but I have met Stanley, so no worries about that. But again, I cannot wait until next year because it's, like I said, it's this Christmas for geeks, and it's a whole weekend of it, and I get to dress up and buy stuff. Like this year I bought Suikoden. I actually bought 2 amazing posters. I'll leave a link in below to show you exactly who the artist was, so you guys can check out his stuff. He was from Portland actually, and they're like Star Wars propaganda posters, and we're gonna get them either plaque mounted or just put them in a frame and have them in my apartment. I just cannot wait because those were really cool. I actually bought Pokeball earrings. That's always fun. I didn't actually buy a ton this year, but that's okay. There's actually a lot of repeat vendors every year. They're always in the same spots, like New Game Plus, which I love. I love you guys. Always buy something from you. And yeah, so I recommend everybody go to a convention, but definitely come to the Calgary Expo because it's a really good one. And like I said, one of the biggest ones in North America. So I would have to say probably one of the biggest ones in the whole world because a lot of the bigger ones are in North America. But yeah, so definitely check it out. Stay tuned because I will do a video next year on the Calgary Expo, and I cannot wait to see who they get, and hopefully there'll be somebody I want to do a photo up with because that's one of my favorite parts. Anyway, that's all for you guys today, and I'll see you guys later.